There. All right, calling to order the Wednesday, November 5th, 2025 meeting of the Lunenburg Conservation at 7:03 p.m. In accordance with the requirements of the open meeting law, please be advised that this meeting is being audio-video recorded. The agenda lists all of the topics which may be discussed at the meeting and those reasonably anticipated by the chair. Votes may be taken from these discussions. Not all items may be discussed, and other items may be raised to the extent permitted by open meeting law. Please be advised the town of Lunenburg utilizes Zoom platform as host for its hybrid and remote meetings. That the Zoom platform utilizes AI technology known as AI Companion to create audio transcriptions of meetings to aid in the subsequent preparation of meeting minutes. And that the AI Companion is activated immediately upon launching the Zoom application. You are hereby notified that this AI technology may capture audio prior to the start of the meeting and or following the conclusion of the meeting. Okay. We do not have any appointments tonight. For public comment, I'll open up for public comment now. Oh, actually, nope, I have to do a roll call. Roll call. Chris St. Germain.
Here.
Andrea Burnett.
Here.
Teddy Doucette.
Here.
Mike LaRouche.
Here.
And I am present, Jenny Putherer. Okay, I'm going to open up for public comment. Comments are to be limited to 3 minutes and on a subject matter under the direct jurisdiction of the commission. Comments about current agenda items are to be made during the comment period of the specific agenda item. Please address all comments to the chair. Do we have anyone here for public comments? It does not appear that we do. Okay, we have some minutes to approve. Where we don't have two members here who would be, we would need for a quorum to approve the meetings previous to the beginning of July meetings. I will skip over those. Are we prepared to vote on the minutes for 9/17, 9/3, 8/20, 7/16? And it looks like that's it. I actually found an issue with 9/3, so I sent that over to Mike. So the meetings that I'm ready to vote on are 9/17, 8/20, 7/16. Have Andrea says she's good? Is anyone else?
I'm good.
Okay,
I'm good.
all right,
Good.
okay. So can I get a motion for the meetings from 9/17?
So moved. Second.
Okay, that's Mike with the motion and Chris with the second. Roll call vote, Chris St. Germain,
Aye.
Andrea Burnett,
Aye.
Teddy Doucette,
Aye.
and Mike LaRouche,
Aye.
and I for myself. We could do the other ones together, right? Oh, there's two others. Can I have a motion to approve the meetings from the minutes from the meeting of 8/20/25 and 7/16/2025?
So moved. Second.
Okay, that's Mike with the motion and Chris with the second. Roll call vote, Chris St. Germain,
Aye.
Andrea Burnett,
Aye.
Teddy Doucette,
Aye.
and Mike LaRouche,
Aye.
and I for myself. All right, so that is the minutes from 9/17, 8/20, and 7/16. Approved. Okay. On to new public hearings. We have up first pursuant to MGL Chapter 131, Section 40, as amended in the Town of Lunenburg Wetlands Protection and Municipal Bylaws, a public hearing on a notice of intent by Paula Valente to supplement an existing shoreline revetment for stabilization and protection of the shoreline, which has experienced significant washout and erosion due to boat and wave activity on Lake Shirley. Do we have the applicant or their representative?
Yep, Ryan Proctor with Dillis and Roy, and I believe Paula is on this call as well.
Yep, I
Yes.
just see that.
Great.
All right, let me give you the ability to share.
That would be terrific. Thank you.
All set.
All right. All right, so thank you for your time tonight. Ryan Proctor, Dillison Roy, representing Paula Valente and the project at 30 Johnson Street. Some of the commission members may be familiar with this site. Approximately 4 years ago, we had permitted the reconstruction of an existing single-family dwelling. At the time, we repaired and replaced the existing septic system and installed a new driveway. That work has since been completed. The project that is before you tonight is strictly limited to along the shoreline. We are essentially looking for a restoration and stabilization project. As was read into the record, there's some significant undercutting of the shoreline, mainly due to the increased boat traffic on the lake and wind activity. So there are currently 2 existing rock revetments and kind of break walls along the shoreline. I'll highlight here in yellow. The first of which is slightly larger on the northwest side of the property. And then there's one sort of halfway along the shoreline that is existing. So those are natural boulder walls. I'll show some photos of those in a moment. In addition to doing some repair and supplementing of those 2 walls, we are also proposing to stabilize the remainder of the shoreline with a masonry block wall, which I'm going to highlight here in blue. So we're actually proposing to pull this back into the slope a little bit, and then the block wall would connect to the existing revetment, and then along this portion of the shoreline as well, adjacent to each of the existing docks that are on the property. So I'm going to switch over to some photos, and then I'm happy to bounce back and forth as necessary. But the first photo here is the first of the existing rock revetments. So as you can see, the existing lawn comes right to the top of the break wall. You can see the natural stones here, and then you can also see some of where this washout is happening here, and this is a common occurrence along the shoreline. Right here, you can see a little bit, where the water is starting to pull the vegetation down, where the rocks are missing. So the intent with the supplementing of this is essentially to kind of reestablish the wall, fill in the gaps, and raise it slightly to match the grades of the existing lawn, such that we can provide that stabilization that's currently there while maintaining that existing characteristics of that revetment. As you move down the shoreline, we get to the first dock. We are proposing to keep the dock. And then you can see behind this, and I'm going to bounce down. Many years ago, there was an existing beach area that was more significant than this. You can see in this photo, I apologize, it's a little bit blurry. Maybe this one's a little bit better. You can see a lot of the existing sediment. You can see the loose stones and gravel starting to be pulled down the shoreline and into the lake, especially in this area here. So what we're proposing, this is one of the areas where the masonry block wall would kind of flare back into the property, so away from the lake. But we'd build up this berm, install some steps, and then reestablish and kind of reclaim that beach area that has historically been there, while providing the stabilization of this area that's being washed out. And that would connect again to the second existing rock revetment that is along the sort of middle portion of the property there. So I'll keep moving down through the photos. This is another area as you move east on the site along the shoreline, where you can see the existing lawn runs right up to the edge of the water, and you can see this kind of undercutting from the wave activity and the wind action. You can actually see some of the moss and where this grass is starting to fall down. And then these stones here is actually an existing boat launch. So we are intending to reestablish that in the same location along with this project as well. And then lastly, as you move down the shoreline, again, you can see this undercutting that's happening, threatening to undercut some of the existing vegetation. In the past couple of years, there's been some mature trees that have actually fallen due to this. I think they were both birch trees, but there were 2 trees that have fallen next to the existing landscape area as a result of this wave activity along the shoreline. So this area, we're proposing the block wall that would be set back into the slope, essentially where that undercutting is happening. So we're not proposing to extend the lawn out towards the lake. We're just intending to try to stabilize what's there the best we can to prevent against future erosion. In addition to the shoreline walls, we're also proposing to supplement some of the existing vegetation. So there is some existing vegetation. I did provide a landscape table with some native plantings that we would just, again, we're not proposing to remove and replace, we're just proposing to supplement. So I did call out some species there that we would just install within the 30-foot wetland offset to supplement that existing vegetation. We are not proposing any tree removal as part of this project. There are two other items I want to talk about. Anytime we are proposing on a project of this state to alter more than 50 linear feet of bank, it triggers a threshold that requires a wildlife habitat evaluation per the Wetland Protection Act. So the applicant was proactive with that and engaged Dan Wells from LEC Environmental to prepare that habitat evaluation. And I submitted that, I believe, last Wednesday. So that is available in OpenGov. I'm happy to flip through that report or talk to anything in there, but by and large, the conclusion of Dan's report was that by maintaining the existing characteristics of the shoreline while providing the existing stabilization for future stabilization, we are not significantly or adversely affecting the habitat on not only this property, but on the lake as a whole. And then the last thing I'll say is last week we did receive a file number from Mass DEP, and that for the record is 208-1364. They had I'm sorry, you gotta have my projects mixed up. On Monday, this past Monday, we received comments from Mass DEP. So earlier this morning, I uploaded a response letter. I completely understand if you haven't had a chance to review it yet. There were only 2 comments, the first of which was providing some responses to the performance standards of bank alteration, land underwater, and floodplain. So I've done that. And then the second comment was relative to 2 conditions, both of which we do not object to. The first of which was that the work be conditioned to occur during periods of lake drawdown. We're happy to do that. I think that makes sense from a construction standpoint and also an environmental standpoint. And if the commission that was out there over the weekend saw, the waters receded probably 10 to 15 feet from the shoreline. So we do not object to that at all. And the second was that the commission may want to include a condition that requires an as-built plan with final grades prior to issuance of a certificate of compliance. We expect that. That seems to be pretty standard. So of course we would not object to that either. So I think I will leave it at that. I'm happy to bounce between site plans or the habitat evaluation if you have any questions on anything.
Thanks so much, Ryan. Do we have any questions from members of the commission?
Yes.
Chris?
Ryan, can you go back to the picture with the boat launch and just tell me a little bit about that reclaiming? Usually when I think of a boat launch, I think of, a car's width. So now I see one narrow block. Can you explain what that is?
Yeah, and Paula might be able to help me out here, but basically it's just, these are like where the tire treads of a trailer would go.
Okay.
So essentially I believe they've just been backing down historically.
Okay, so there's one under the moss on the right that I can't see, right? Is that what
That's
is?
correct. Yeah, you can
Okay.
see some of the blocks have actually
Yeah.
washed out here. Yeah,
Okay.
but yeah, exactly.
All right, thank you.
Okay, is that it, Chris?
Yeah.
All right, do we have any other questions from members of the commission? Does not appear so. Can you flip through your pictures again for me, Ryan?
Sure.
I had a question come up on my. And so for the beach area.
Yep.
The plan was a masonry wall on the
That's
beach
correct.
area? Okay.
Yep.
And staying in that same footprint that we're seeing, but just.
Yeah, we're actually proposing to move it back away from the lake a little bit.
Okay.
So the wall itself would not quite I'm going to use the term head wall, but more of a wing wall. It would go back into the shoreline so that this existing material would be removed, and then we'd kind of reestablish a beach area here with the steps up to this upper level.
Okay. Right, I actually don't have any other questions on this. I was out on the site this weekend and there's definitely erosion happening. So do we have any questions from members of the public?
Does the board need to see any of the previous pictures of the way it looked some years ago? I believe Ryan has those available.
If you have them, Ryan, I'd be happy to see them.
Yes, let me try to pull those up by. Yeah. I have too many windows. I have too many projects on tonight. I'm sorry.
I feel like you're gonna be with us all night tonight.
Yeah, we're gonna have a fun time tonight. I had them and I lost them. I'm so sorry.
It's these pictures are crazy for me because the water is just so far away from there
It-
now.
It is incredible.
Yeah.
Okay, I found them. Just bear with me 1 second here.
Take your time.
All right, let me pull them over. Are they showing up on the screen right now?
They are
No.
not.
Okay, all right, good. Let me try to re-screen share. Might have to do one picture at a time. But this
That's fine.
is one photo. You can see kind of how much more established this beach area was, and then this did drop down towards the lake here. But this is that first dock on the left there, and that stone revetment would be on the left of that as well. So that is one photo, and then let me try to bounce to the other one here.
So that was obviously, if we're looking from the house, that was the
From-
dock that was on the left.
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And then this is the same thing here. So this is that it's a little bit cut off, but you can see the beach area down there where the boat's pulling up.
Okay.
as
So,
well.
and is that that it just revegetated coming like away from the house? Or is that water just because it looks like the dock is kind of the same as it is now, right?
I think the dock location is the same.
Okay.
I can speak from experience with property my family has, but when you have these beach areas here, the sand eventually over time just runs out, so it just builds up under the lake water, and I think that's what's happening here. And that's visible if you'll permit me to bounce back one more time to my pictures. You can see, you can see this sand here, and the fines from this area are eventually there, and I think this, like you said, the vegetation has just started to pop through there.
Okay.
But yeah, and even in this picture here, you can see how this is much more sandy and less loam.
Okay. And then can you go back to the plan one more time?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, so this is the area. This is kind of, you can see the contours, how they get a little bit steeper here. So this is where that washout's happening. So we're just proposing to pull this retaining wall in on both sides, and we'd have some steps down from the lawn area into that new level area, or the reestablished level area.
No more, any more comments or questions from the commission?
I have a comment.
Yep. Who is that?
Teddy.
Oh, hi, Teddy. Oh, yep.
Hi, I just want to say I appreciate the inclusion of native plants into this plan.
Thank you.
That is all.
Thank you, Teddy.
Great.
Mike has his hand up.
Yes, Madam Chair. Just wondering, what are the steps going to be constructed
Oh,
with?
good
What
question.
material?
Granite steps, it looks like.
Yeah, we have them called out as granite.
Okay.
All right. Do we have any other questions for members of the commission? All right. Do we have possibly a motion? If we were to have a motion, it would, I'd like to have the conditions that the DEP asked for, which would be occurring during the drawdown, which it's drawn down now. And an as-built with final grades, which we would ask for anyway.
So moved.
We have a second? Do we have a second?
Second,
Okay. All right, roll call vote. Chris Saint Germain,
Aye.
Andrea Burnett,
Aye.
Teddy Doucette,
Aye.
Mike LaRouche,
aye.
and I for myself. So that is approved with the conditions that it occurs during the drawdown. And we receive an as-built with final grades.
Excellent. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
All right,
Thank
thanks,
you.
Ryan.
Thanks.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you.
All right, up next we have pursuant to MGL Chapter 131, Section 40 is amended and the Town of Lunenburg Wetlands Protection and Municipal Bylaws, a public hearing on a request for determination of applicability by Mark and Linda Chase for emergency repairs to a 50-plus-year-old retaining wall on the shore of Lake Whalum. The wall measures 27 feet long and is within 10 feet of the lake shore. The wall is seriously damaged and our consulting engineer found that it is in danger of collapsing. The repairs will consist of placing concrete retaining wall blocks against the existing wall. The wall will include preparing a concrete base for the blocks and grading the yard behind the wall. It's a long one. Okay, do we have the applicant or the representative
We
on the
do.
meeting?
Yep, Ryan Proctor, Dillison Roy representing the applicant.
Okay, all right, Ryan, do you want to go over this a little bit with us?
I'd be happy to. So I actually had the benefit of meeting the commission on site on Saturday. It was very windy,
It was.
but I will share some photos just to give the commission idea of the project here. So as was just read, the proposed project was filed for by the applicants themselves, actually. But what we have is an existing vertical concrete wall on Lake Whalum. There actually was a previously existing deck in this location that has since rotted away, but you can see old evidence of the timber supports here on the base of the wall. But essentially what we're proposing to do is to supplement this existing wall. Instead of removing the concrete and risk losing the vegetation behind it and worried about erosion and all that. It's not shown in this picture, but it's quite steep behind this wall as well, heading back up towards the house. But what the applicants are proposing to do is construct a new block wall in front of this wall. So we would pour a 3-foot wide concrete pad and then install the new the block walls. They're 2x3x6, and we'd stack those in 3 layers, basically match the height of this wall right in front of it, and then we'd supplement the voids between the 2 walls with crushed stone. And then the only other thing we do is we'd pull some material from behind this wall and again install some crushed stone and gravel just to encourage the infiltration behind and in between both of these walls before it gets to the lake. So this is the existing site pictures. I'll just pull over to the design plan just to give a profile view. So essentially we have the existing vertical wall here. We're proposing to install the block wall in front of it. Again, we'd fill these voids with gravel. And then on the uphill side, we are proposing to do some minor excavation of the existing material and clean the existing weeps for the wall and then install some crushed gravel in this area as well, just to encourage that exfiltration. And then I do just have a plan view shown up here. So this is the existing landing with the wing walls. We're just installing with the same length in that same landing area, that block wall there. The William R. Proctor is doing the excavating. The excavator for the project will sit on the upland side of the project, and we'll just turn and place the blocks in place there. And a project of this nature is probably start to finish 2 days at most. So a relatively quick project, but the applicants are very worried about the retaining wall in its current state. There was one question, I'm not sure if she's here yet, but Mary had asked at the site walk about whether this needs a building permit. So I did reach out to Brian, the building commissioner, and he confirmed that if it is over 4 feet, which it is currently proposed to be over 4 feet, that it would need a building permit. So if the commission were to act favorably on this, we would still need to go to him to get a building permit for this project.
You read
so-
my mind because I was going to ask that.
Excellent. Well, I'm happy. That's the goal. So if there's any questions, that's all I have to say at this point. But if there's any questions, I'm happy to take them.
Okay. Do we have any questions from members of the commission?
I have a question.
Okay, Chris.
So this is just my lack of construction knowledge. So if the existing wall is compromised, which I guess is getting pushed out towards the lake.
Yes.
Is it my understanding that these blocks will be able to handle the push? These new blocks will be able to handle the force of the old wall pushing against it?
That's my understanding. We will taper it back. So it's not going to be quite a vertical wall. You can see, maybe you can't see, it's a little bit tough, but there is going to be leaning back into the wall. And then
Okay.
with the, I think with this excavation back here, we're actually proposing to, hopefully that'll relieve some of the pressure from the soil with the gravel in the back.
Okay.
And the additional drainage that we're proposing there.
All right, thank you.
Do we have any other questions for members of the commission? Teddy.
Yeah, so you said that you're excavating out the soil behind that initial wall, and then you're putting in gravel, and then are you putting in the soil back over the gravel?
That's correct. Yes. So actually you can see this trench here. We'd fill the voids with gravel, and then the topsoil would be restored with the existing material, and then any disturbed areas would be loomed and seeded.
Great question, Teddy. Thanks. Mike, you have your hand up.
Yes, Madam Chair. Ryan, are you not intending to connect these two walls together? They're going to be, the new wall will be freestanding?
That's correct. I am not aware of any plans to connect the two walls.
Okay. And like Chris, it would seem to me that, any chance to give more protection for the wall, somehow I would think that connecting them would give it more strength. But once again, I'm not a concrete person.
Yep.
I don't know. Oh, sorry.
Is it because it's at an angle, or is that just the drawing? It appears that it's not horizontally plumb with the ground. It looks like is that just my view that it looks like it's coming into the wall, or is that just an illusion?
The proposed wall, you mean, Mike?
Yes.
Yeah, so that will be tapered back. We actually had the structural engineer on site on Saturday, and,
All right.
and he confirmed that it will be leaned back.
Okay.
He's the one that drafted this plan. Like I said, I'm not aware of any connection to the existing wall, but it will be tapered back
Okay.
towards the existing.
Well, I certainly trust him, and his name will be on this project, so we can go back to him if.
Yeah, it's already on it. Right here.
Okay,
Yeah.
great, excellent. Thank you.
So yeah, the back wall is like a poured concrete wall with like wings. And
Yep.
then from what it looks like to me is these are going to be like those big Ready Rock style
Exactly. Yes.
blocks. And those are like, they can be anywhere from like 1,800 to like 4,000 pounds, depending on how big they are. And they fit together like puzzle pieces. And then they taper back a little bit. So they taper back like a couple inches as you go up. So they don't have to connect in, they just kind of sit in front of it and will take some of that pressure from behind the wall. Does that make sense?
I hear you.
Okay.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Ryan.
Thank you.
Do we have any other questions from members of the commission? Okay, we have a motion, I guess, for determination? Looking for a negative determination here? most likely.
I move
Finding.
for negative determination.
All right, do we have a second?
Second, Mike?
All right, roll call vote, Chris St. Germain,
Aye.
Mike LaRouche,
Aye.
Andrea Burnett,
aye,
and Teddy Doucette,
Aye.
and I for myself. All right, that is finding of a negative determination.
Great, thank you very much.
All right. Okay. Up next, we have pursuant to MGL Chapter 131, Section 40, as amended in the Town of Lunenburg Wetlands Protection and Municipal Bylaws, a public hearing on a notice of intent by Robin Corbett to repair and reinforce the retaining wall that has eroded on their property. Do we have the applicant or their representative here?
We're here.
Hi, Robin and Larry. Can you- is Ryan representing you or are you representing yourselves?
No, he's here with us.
Okay, yep,
I am
yep,
as
yep.
well.
Oh, he's here tonight. Okay. All right, Ryan, will you be presenting for us?
I'd be happy to. I will
Okay.
go ahead and share my screen once more.
Thank you, Ryan.
You're welcome. All right, just again, once more for the record, Ryan Proctor, Dillison Roy, representing Robin and Larry Corbett and their project 32 Sunset Ave on Lake Whalum. By and large, this project is broken down into two phases or two portions. First and foremost, this application has been filed as a shoreline restoration project, similar to the first application. There is an existing rock revetment that runs the entire frontage of the property that I'll just highlight here. Along Lake Whalum, that has seen some heavy deterioration on this side of the lake. As you probably know, Madam Chair, the wind and wave activity rips right down, and there's not much to protect it. So this
Yep.
shoreline has seen some erosion. And what we're proposing to do along the entire frontage is install a dry stack rock revetment and reestablish that break wall along the shoreline. So we're not proposing any masonry block, any concrete. The applicants have been working with Brett Ramsden, who will be doing this project. And Brett is very familiar with working on these lakefront projects in town, and we've worked with him many times. So he will be doing that work. We are not proposing to expand the existing footprint. We are not proposing to push the existing wall further into the lake. We really want to maintain what's there, reestablish that, and make sure that the shoreline is protected. So along with the project, there is some, I believe, some bittersweet along the property that would be removed along the retaining wall, the existing wall. So we do intend to include that as part of this proposed project. The second portion, if you will, is in the upland side. The applicants are proposing to replace and repair and provide some additional stabilization of the slope between their deck and the shoreline. So currently access is very steep and getting to the point of being unsafe. So in red, I've actually highlighted what is currently a previously existing walkway and patio area. They're intending to remove what is there currently, which is some blocks and pea stone, and replace that with a paver patio. And then along the slope side of that, to provide the stabilization, we're proposing, again, a dry stack retaining wall and landscape boulders to hold back that slope in a couple of tiers, just given the topography of the site here. So we'll almost have 2 layers of retaining walls with a grass strip in between. And that is all happening between the deck and the shoreline. And then instead of having to traverse down the steep slope, we are actually rerouting this walkway around with a landing area and some stairs, again supported by the large native landscape boulders to hold back the slope. And then that would ultimately make its way down to this lower landing area. Along and to supplement the retaining walls, adjacent to and on top of the retaining walls, we are proposing a pretty significant amount of native landscaping. I did include a planting schedule. So we have a couple red maples, some blue stem, some low bush blueberries, and some button bush that we're proposing. And then any areas that are not landscaped, we are proposing to restore with lumen seed. And similar to the other project, we are not proposing any mature tree removal for this project. Similar to the 30 Johnson Street project, as I mentioned, when we are working on proposed bank, this project will also trigger the 50-foot threshold for requiring a wildlife habitat evaluation. So the applicant was proactive and hired Dan Wells from LEC Environmental to perform an inspection and prepare the wildlife habitat evaluation. So Dan did so, and the finding was the same. In this case, we are essentially doing a repair and replace of the existing rock revetment in kind. So his findings were, since that we're maintaining the existing wildlife habitat, that we're not going to be creating an adverse scenario for the existing critters and wildlife along the shoreline. So I'm happy to pull up that report and go through that. I know he had some good photos of the site as well.
That'd be great.
And just one more comment, and then I'll happy to take any questions. We also did receive a file number for this project as well. 2081362 was the number. There were 2 comments. The first of which was actually relative to the floodplain. Our previous floodplain elevation was actually higher than the updated maps that just came out. So we adjusted that on our site plan, which actually lessened our impacts, which we saw as a positive thing. And the second of which was something that we had already addressed, but it was that the DEP recommended that the commission may exercise their discretion in requiring a wildlife habitat evaluation, which, as I just mentioned, we had proactively prepared. So those were the only 2 comments. Probably just leave it there. If there's any questions, I'd be happy to take them.
Great. Oh, did you want to go over the habitat evaluation?
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, I can do that. Let me pull it up. Forgive me. So I will go through, well, I'm actually open right up on the summary, so I might as well start here. So this was Dan Wells's findings from LEC. So the proposed project will not permanently impair or remove any important habitat features listed in Appendix A or B, or substantially reduce the ability of the resource area to provide wildlife habitat functions, including food, shelter, migratory and breeding areas for generalist wildlife species. And then I'll just skip down therefore conclude that the proposed project avoids, minimizes, and mitigates adverse effects on wildlife habitat, and that it will not, following 2 growing seasons of the project completion and thereafter, substantially reduce the site's capacity to provide important wildlife habitat functions. So I will just go through, I know you had some good pictures of the site. So this is the shoreline down here, and the existing deck that I mentioned. You can kind of tell from the picture how steep this is and see how low the water elevation is in comparison to where the standing picture was taken here. This is a picture of kind of the existing condition. You can see some undercutting here. I am not an expert, but this, I believe, is some bittersweet. Oh yeah, Oriental
it
bittersweet
is.
vines. Yep. And then these are just some pictures of the bank. When I was out there, there's quite a bit of debris along the shoreline as well. I think you can see some of that we'd intend to clean up as part of this project as well. This is, again, in the existing wall and part of the existing structure that is there currently, with some steps, and then a landing area where the applicants are currently storing their dock. Again, more existing condition of the shoreline. You can see some undercutting. This is the existing revetment, the vegetation on top. And then this area here, again, bittersweet, there's some debris that is washed up, some undercutting of the shoreline on this side of the photo, just general condition of the rock revetment. And Dan must have had his rain boots on because he's in the water here, but this is looking on. So this is, you'd park up in the driveway, this is where you walk down, and then this steep slope kind of starts down here to get down to the actual dock itself. And I think this is a pretty good image of how that slope kind of cuts off quickly once you step down from the deck. And I think this is more of the same. This is upland, and this is the current path that you walk down from the driveway to get down to the landing area. So those are the photos. If there's anything else specific in here, I'm happy to pull it up.
Nope, I don't have any other questions about this. Okay, about this report.
Yeah.
Do we have any questions for members of the commission? None at all? Any comments?
I think this is very well documented, and I think it's actually a good project. It's you know, it's a positive project. It's not a mitigation. It's good. So I'm happy to see this.
I agree. I think that the natural rock is also very good for the shoreline. Using that myself for my wall. Do we have any other questions or comments from members of the commission? Do we have any questions or comments from members of the public? Does not appear that we do. I guess that I'd be looking for a motion. I'm going to recuse myself on this one because this house is only a couple of houses away from me and I am friendly with the owners, so just to be on the up and up, I will recuse myself from this one.
I motion to approve this as presented.
Do we have a second?
I second.
Okay, roll call vote. It's Chris with the motion, Mike with the second. Roll call vote. Chris Saint Germain,
Aye.
Andrea Burnett,
aye.
Teddy Doucette,
Aye.
Mike LaRouche,
Aye.
and I abstain. But that is approved with the majority.
Good, thank you so much. I appreciate your time.
Thanks,
Thank-
Ryan.
Thank you.
Thanks, Robin and Larry. All right, have a good night.
You
Take care.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Okay. For continued public hearings, we have a public hearing on a notice of intent by the town of Lunenburg DPW for the replacement of the deteriorated culvert at Northfield Road over Mulpus Brook. And this is at 763 Northfield Road. Do we have the engineer on the call for this project? Do not see them. I have not received, well, in OpenGov, it does say that they requested to continue until further notice. So I guess that would count as them requesting to continue through multiple meetings.
So do we need to formally? Motion,
Yeah,
right?
we would have to have a motion to continue to the next meeting, which would be 11/19.
I
Um,
motion to move this to the next meeting.
Okay,
So moved.
all right, so that is a motion to move to the November 19th, 2025 meeting. By Chris and a second by
Mike.
Mike. Okay, all right, roll call vote. Chris Saint Germain,
Aye.
Andrea Burnett,
Aye,
Teddy Doucette,
Aye.
Mike LaRouche,
Aye.
and I for myself. All right, so that is continued to November 19th, 2025. And I will ask the DPW to check in with this engineer. Because we didn't ask for much. Into November 19th, 2024. Okay. Up next, we have administrative determinations. We only have one, and that is at 36 Peninsula Drive. And that is Brian Kerrigan for the removal of one large tree that has died. Let me pull this up in OpenGov. Do we have the applicant on the line? It looks like we do.
I am here, Madam Chair.
Okay, let me Do you have anything you'd like to present?
No, I actually had submitted it all online, but I don't have anything right in front of me because it was on a different computer.
Okay, yeah, I can share for you.
Oh, awesome. Thank you.
All right, give me one moment. All right, let me share. Okay, so see what we have for notes from our administrator. Based on visual observations and the provided documentation, the white pine in question shows clear signs of decline, including extensive browning of needles and dead or falling branches. The tree is notably tall and located in proximity to the residence. Given its current deteriorating condition and the potential for significant damage or personal injury should it fall, its removal is considered necessary for safety reasons. And these are pictures from our, Zoom is just always in the way, from our administrator. So this is, and it's just one tree that you're asking
Correct.
to remove. Is it this one? Can you
No,
see
it's actually, from what I can see, it's the
this one?
tree that's to the right.
This
Yeah.
one. Okay, you can see my mouse moving? Everybody can see my mouse
Yes.
moving? Okay. All right,
Actually, that looks, yeah, that does look correct. Yep. Yeah,
so
the
this
tree was
one,
marked with an orange flag, so he would know which one it was.
okay. Okay, do we, if there's anything else, those pictures, it's just the pictures that she, oh, and here is a diagram. Okay, so this
Not
is the
nearly as
waters.
not nearly as nice as the diagrams I saw earlier in the meeting.
So this is where the tree is. So this is the
Correct.
water's edge.
Hmm.
Okay. All right. Okay. Do we have any questions from members of the commission? Hold on, let me get my meeting back. Hold on. Okay, do we have any questions from members of the commission? Do we have any questions from members of the public? Do we have a motion to approve to remove this tree?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second,
All right, that is a motion by Mike and a second by Chris. Roll call vote, Chris St. Germain,
aye.
Andrea Burnett,
Aye.
Teddy Doucette,
Aye.
and Mike LaRouche,
Aye.
and I for myself. Okay, that is an approval to remove the tree.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, have a great night.
All right, you too. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.
Some notes. Okay, we don't have any extension request permit certificates of compliance or project changes tonight. So we're moving on to enforcement. I have a couple of updates. 10 Mass Ave, we're checking in with them because they were supposed to file by April. I haven't seen anything come through since then. 1168 Mass Ave rear, the fine was mailed. It was returned and then it's remailed to the correct address because we had the wrong property owner on record in the Access GIS. 48 Meadow Lane, Herlin is in contact with the property owners. 1147 Mass Ave, the mail was returned. I'm not sure what they are planning on doing next. 314 Highland Street, they are mailing a violation. That's kind of a newish one. 199 Mass Ave, is here. They filed an NOI. And I think we have Ryan on the call for this and the applicants.
We do, yes.
All right, would you like to go over?
I would be happy to.
Okay.
I'd be if I shared my screen again.
Yep.
All right. All right, so I'm here, and I believe it was Mike Chaplain that was on as well with us. But
Yes.
this is the site at 199 Mass Ave. This is the Chaplain, the old Chaplain car and truck dealership. This has been discussed for a little while. I believe in response to a violation notice, we were hired to prepare essentially an existing conditions and restoration plan for the site. So there's quite a bit of hatching and line work on this plan, so I'll try to clean it up in a way that makes sense to everybody. So this kind of existing dashed line that I'm tracing with my cursor here, this looped area here, was a previously existing and currently still there today compacted gravel pathway around the rear of the property. This portion of the site over the past 40 or 50 years has historically been used as not a dump, but a collection area for old vehicles and debris. So I just want to be clear from the start that, and I think this has been said by the applicants and by Greg at a previous meeting, but the disturbance that has happened within the buffer zone was a result of an attempt to clean up the property and remove a lot of the debris and old vehicles that were on the site. So we are proposing restoration here, but the applicants, by and large, were intending to clean up and remove debris of the property as they prepare to sell it. So that is essentially why we ended up here. What we've done is broken down the disturbance within each of your wetland offsets, including the 100-foot buffer zone. So I have 3 different hatched areas here, and bear with me and feel free to interrupt me if you have any questions. But we have a dashed hatch of disturbance. This is disturbance area between the 0 and 30-foot no touch setback. We have a net hatch. That's between disturbance between the 30 and 50-foot no build setback, and then a beehive hatch or hexagonal hatch for the 50-foot to 100-foot buffer zone disturbance. So I'll just point out those around the site. So again, your single dash line, this is disturbance that has occurred while cleaning up the property within the 0 to 30-foot, which is this first orange dash line. And there's a couple areas of that along this eastern side of the property as well. Your net hatch is between the 30 and the 50-foot wetland offset. And then your hexagonal hatch is the 50-foot to 50-foot, 50-foot to 100-foot buffer zone disturbance. And that as well goes along the eastern side of the property. And then this red area here this is the area identified as actual wetland resource area that was disturbed. Again, this area in particular was pulling out, I believe, an old truck frame from the wetland. So again, the owners were trying to clean up the property, and that's the result of the disturbance there. So we have a handful of mitigation measures that we were proposing for this project, most notably within your 0 to 30-foot no disturb zone. We are proposing to plant a series of red maple trees installed 50-foot on center. These are these tree symbols here. Those would essentially wrap around the entire of this travel area around this, adjacent to the wetland area on the east side, and then on the west side of the property as well. And then we would permanently demarcate the 30-foot no disturb zone with boulders offset with those trees, so that you'd have a good buffer between the 30-foot no disturb zone and the wetland resource area. Those trees were determined, that the quantity was determined per your tree replication requirements. So the trees that were removed within the 0 to 30-foot no touch setback, we've identified here. And then we provided a calculation based on the diameter at breast height, which is how you measure and determine your replication ratio, the number of trees that we were proposing. So within the 30, there were 7 trees. Within your 30-foot no disturb, there were 7 trees that were removed. So that calculates out to a total of 13 for replacement. We are actually proposing to do 19 just for the spacing and the additional trees that were removed, which I'll talk to you now. So there were some additional trees that were removed that are indicated by these green circles. These stumps are still in place, so the applicants did not pull those. It's my understanding that the debris on site, including some old junk, the trees had actually grown up through them. So this tree removal was associated with the removal of the debris that was on the property. So those stumps are still in place, and we are not proposing to remove those as part of this project. The other measure of stabilization is broken down as well in our restoration notes. So starting with the wetland disturbance itself, which was on the west side of the property, we are proposing to restore that with a New England wet mix, a wetland seed mix. Restoration work within the 30-foot no-touch zone will be restored with loam and seed, again, a wetland seed mix, and the maple tree plantings I just mentioned. And then also, as I just mentioned, following that restoration work, we would install the boulders at 50 feet on center and the maple trees offset to delineate that no disturb zone. And then lastly, the remainder of the disturbance areas will be restored with lumen seed and mulch and fertilizer and mulch. It's my understanding that a lot of the vegetation on site, some of it has already started to revegetate naturally, but we do intend to supplement that in all of those disturbance areas that are indicated by this hatching here. And then the last item I will mention, and I'm happy to discuss this with the commission, but I was reviewing this with Greg earlier today, and we had originally proposed straw wattle at the limit of the work that we're proposing, the restoration work that we're proposing. However, it didn't quite make sense to us to install an erosion control barrier, overseed the area with the plantings and permanently demarcate that. And then once it's established, go back in there, in 2 years and tear up the erosion control barrier to remove it and trample through that area. So I think one change to this plan that we would entertain proposing if the commission was amendable, and if not, we totally understand. But given that the site is relatively flat and it's already starting to revegetate and we'd supplement that on top, we'd ask if the commission would consider not requiring the erosion control protection since we are doing the stabilization with the lumen seed. So that's something I'm happy to discuss further with the commission tonight. But otherwise, I think that's this plan. And then actually the only other thing I want to note, earlier this afternoon, you might have seen a new site plan be uploaded to OpenGov. The previous site plan, the hatching was not clearly showing through. So the plan I sent over this afternoon did not change materially at all. I just bolded out the hatching so that it was more clear and legible. So if you saw that attachment come through, it's this plan that I'm now presenting, but there were no material changes to the plan.
Okay.
So with that, if you have any questions for me or the applicant, we'd be happy to take them.
Okay. So the debris has all been removed. Is there anything remaining on site as far as debris goes, or that was all removed during the disturbance?
I believe it's done, but I will defer to Mike on that one.
You still here?
Okay, I think I turned my audio on. Yes, the debris is all gone. There may be 1 or 2 little pieces of sheet metal that's out there, but for the most part, the area has been cleaned.
Okay. Okay, so we definitely would want to have all debris removed from the site. And then the other question I had was, this is more just for my education. So I understand this property is up for sale, right? The
Correct.
plan is to sell this property. Now, a certificate of compliance is going to require a couple of growing seasons to monitor the replication and the plantings. How does that work? Would the new owner just have to agree to take on the certificate of compliance, or?
Well, there is currently not a new owner. We are actively trying to sell the property. We do not have a purchase and sales agreement signed. We do have a couple of interested parties, but it's in the very early stages. And this property that we're talking about is kind of like the quote unquote back 40. So far, the people that have been interested in it are interested in what you see from the street, the truck dealership. But we felt that we wanted to clean up that back area to make it look a little more presentable. But like I said, right now, we have no purchase and sales agreement with anybody.
So Jenny, I think in order for them to do any work, like let's say somebody bought it, if they wanted to use the back 40, they actually have to go through a formal process anyways. So I don't think there's an issue with that because they couldn't do any construction without going through a formal process. We get re-involved anyways. So
Okay,
I think we're okay there.
okay. And we can't vote on it tonight just because it's not under hearings and it hasn't been advertised. So, but we can definitely get any questions that we have in so that we can make it easier when they come back. So as far as removing the erosion control from the plan, what I would like to do for that is float that by our interim admin.
Sure.
And just have her, have a get her input on that and then have that to you before the next meeting. Oh,
Okay.
Mary just joined us. And let's see. Mary just missed all of it, but she's here.
Yes,
As-
sorry, I'm late.
That's okay. We're glad you're here. We are on the violation for 199 Mass Ave right now. Ryan is here presenting. They filed an NOI. So he's just showing us what's there, but he's showing us under enforcement because it was not advertised or put on the agenda. So we're just taking a look under violations. I had another question. Did I have another question? No, I think I asked all my questions. Do we have any questions from members of the commission?
To get Mary up to speed, Mary, one of the
Okay.
things they're proposing is not doing the protection barrier, the straw wattles, because the actual disturbance has already been done. Right now, they're actually in the restoration process. So they're proposing not doing it because they're not really doing any work. They're putting down loam and other things. So that's one of the things that's going to be proposed. It's going to be asked of the office.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, so I think they're obviously going to have to come back because this wasn't advertised, so I wanted to float that by her, Lynn, and get her input on that before they come back so that we could reach out to them and let them know.
Their
What we think is best.
reasoning, Mary, is that they'd have to go through and trample everything they put down to go remove it. So they thought since it's very flat and the disturbance has already happened, they're actually in the restoration phase, it might make sense to not put down the protection barrier. So that's one of the things we're looking at.
Okay.
It sounds like it makes sense to me, but I just wanna
Well,
check with the office.
I guess the question I would have is, not having been out there myself and so not really knowing where they are in the restoration process is, I mean, regardless, there's an obligation by the owner to ensure that no silt or erosion happens into the actual wetland. So are we so far past in restoration work that that's just not, I mean, everything's already out there and it's already established? Is that where we are?
I don't,
Yeah, I can answer that, Madam Chair. So the work that we're proposing on this site plan is not completed in terms of the trees and the boulder protection and demarcation, but on site, a lot of the existing it has started to naturally revegetate in a lot of these areas, especially within the no disturb zone. So we are certainly proposing to supplement that as necessary and further restore that area, but just given the existing revegetation, like Chris was saying, it's a generally flat site, and it didn't make sense for us to, after a certificate of compliance is eventually issued, to trample back through there and pull out the straw wattle.
Okay, yeah, thank you for that, Ryan and Madam Chair. Just speaking for myself, I would want to hear what Harlan's advice is, but certainly don't want to do anything that influences, the applicant to go and damage the area that we, so carefully wanted them to restore. As long as we have reasonable, assurance that that's actually the way it's going to progress. But hopefully Harlan's already been through something like this before and can give us some advice.
Yeah. Do we have any other questions from members of the commission? It does not appear that we do.
In terms of the legal advertisement, I see, I'm looking in OpenGov. It looks like we did pay that a while ago. Was this, was this something that we messed up here, or was this in the office? Did anyone have any visibility into that?
So I know that Greg reached out. I was just checking on all of the violations before the meeting.
Yeah.
And I remember that Greg had reached out and asked for the for us to be on October 1st, but then I don't believe that the NOI had been filed yet then.
Okay.
So didn't end up being on the October 15th meeting. And then it looks like Harlan had scheduled it for 11:05 and somehow it got missed.
Okay.
So that's why I had mentioned it in the beginning of the meeting.
Right. Okay.
And as far as I did not see it advertised, so I don't believe it has been advertised. And I did check and I didn't see it advertised, but I will check with the office and we'll definitely have it on under a hearing for the next meeting.
Okay. I can follow up with Michael in the paper tomorrow as well, just to make sure that they have what they need.
Yeah, so sorry for the issues.
That's okay.
Okay, do we have any other? Oh, Mike, you have your hand up.
Yes, Madam Chair. Is there such a thing as a biodegradable straw wattle? Is that available? So you could put them down and not have to remove them because they would biodegrade onto itself?
I can look into that, Mike. That sounds very familiar, so I'm happy to check into that before
Okay.
the next meeting. It sounds like we have to come
Sounds
back
like
anyway.
mulch.
Yeah.
Well, I think there's something made out of wheat. I've seen a few things online. Whether or not it would work here, I don't know, but there's certainly something there that could be placed and then not have to worry about removing it. But I'm not an expert. That's why we have Ryan here helping us and helping the applicant. So I'm just throwing it out there.
That's a good
Yep.
question, Mike.
Yeah, that's good. Well, I'll look into that prior to the next meeting.
Thank you, Ryan.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
That's Mike. Okay, well, do we have any other questions from members of the commission? Does not appear that we do, so for this one, there's really no action for us to take right now, other than to make sure that this is appropriately listed on the next agenda. And also make sure it's been advertised.
Okay. Yeah, and if there's anything you need from Dillis and Roy or the applicant, please let us know. And
Yep,
we'll get it
we'll
over to you.
definitely be in touch and make sure we know, you'll know anything that we'll need before the next meeting.
Great. Thank you.
All right, thanks so much, Ryan.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
Mike Chapdelaine.
Yep.
I just want to clarify something that was said a few minutes ago, when the question was asked if the area has been completely cleaned of debris, and I said that it was, almost completely done. We still had a couple of things. Did you indicate that we should probably remove what is left as long as it isn't in the buffer zone?
I would say, well, anything that's if there's any debris in the buffer zone, it should be removed, but we can address that in the next meeting.
Okay.
So I think we don't want really any work done in the buffer zone right now until we figure out what our next steps are in the next
Okay.
meeting. Does that make sense to everybody? Yeah, okay.
Thank you.
All right, thanks so much. Have a good night.
You also.
Okay, so the next violation that we have is 215 Sunset Lane. They filed an NOI and there are some notes in, hold on, 215 Sunset Lane. Let me just remind myself which one this is.
I am also here, Madam Chair, representing Dave Pajari, who's here. If you'd like me to give a summary on this, I'm happy to provide one.
Oh, yep, that would be great.
Excellent. So this is 215 Sunset Lane. It's DEP file number 2081344. This is one of those cases we've had a couple of these in the past 2 years, but back in April, on April 16th of this year, the commission voted to issue a certificate of compliance for the construction of a driveway and a single-family home at 215 Sunset Lane.
Okay.
And the order of conditions was not issued until October 23rd, so a little over 6 months after the public hearing was closed. So during that time, the owner did proceed with the work at the site. Dillis and Roy was on site prior to construction and during construction as well. We staked the erosion control barrier. The owner got those in. We staked the house. We've been monitoring construction. We did not see any signs of erosion when we were out there. So even though the order was not issued, in our opinion, the owner has been constructing the site and the site plan in accordance with the order of conditions and the approved site plan. So when the order was issued a week and a half ago, Dave went over, picked it up, recorded it the same day, and had Herlin out there for a site visit, in which she noted some things in OpenGov that hopefully mirror what I mentioned about the lack of erosion on the site. And she did observe the erosion control barrier. I think she had a couple of notes about patching that up in a few spots, which have been completed already. So hopefully we're on the right path forward here. But as I mentioned, it's our opinion that the applicant has been doing everything in accordance with the order, even though it wasn't issued. So if there's any questions, I'm happy to take questions, and Dave is here as well.
So I'm just gonna quickly share my screen and
Yep.
and share Herlin's notes. I remember which one this is.
Yeah, I can pull up the
And-
site plan if that would be helpful, if you need me to.
So, well, Zoom just puts everything in front of where I want to look. I don't know why it wants to do that. Okay, erosion controls were in place, including silt fencing, hay bales, and straw wattles along the down gradient slope adjacent to the roadway. Some hay bales were beginning to deteriorate or had shifted slightly, and leaves had accumulated in a few areas. But overall, the controls appeared to be functioning as intended. No debris, construction material, sediment laden discharge was noted entering the roadway or nearby drainage structures. Developer was present, cooperative, and responsive, and acknowledged the issue. He agreed to be more vigilant during forecasted rain events and to monitor and maintain the erosion controls more frequently. Based on current observations, there was no evidence of sediment or material reaching Hickory Hills Lake, and no enforcement action is recommended at this time. I advise that the following steps be taken. Reinforce, replace, and secure silt fencing where needed. Monitor the site before and after rain events. So this is one of her pictures. And then this is the driveway coming down to the road, or the road is down here
The
from this
road
one?
is behind us in this photo, I believe.
Okay. So this is, the road is like kind of right beyond this straw wattle right here, right?
Yeah, I think
In
she
front.
walked up the driveway a little bit for this photo, compared
Okay.
to the first one, I think.
And,
I believe that's the proposed well, right in the middle there.
okay.
Yeah.
So this is the curve of the road right here.
Right.
So
think-
can you pull up the plan for me?
Yep.
Let me stop sharing.
Madam Chair, may I ask a
Yep.
question?
Yeah.
So what is the violation? Is the violation that the construction started before the OC was issued, or is the violation that the erosion control measures weren't being maintained, or is it something else?
So it's something else. So I remembered after Ryan started talking about it, somebody actually put a complaint into the office that there was sediment going into the street from the site.
Mhm.
So I actually, it's terrible that I didn't remember this because I actually drove by it and looked at it like a week ago. I drove by it that night and it was after we had a significant amount of rain and there was a lot of sediment. The only thing that I noticed that was outside of what the plan called for is I did not see the erosion blankets anywhere on site. And are those there now or?
That I don't know. I can defer to Dave. Those, I believe, were meant as a kind of a final stabilization, once those were established.
Okay. Hold on 1 second. Let me just make this.
Hello?
Hey, Dave.
Hey, Ryan. So if I can say,
Yeah.
regards to the erosion blankets, those are supposed to be set in place once all the construction's completed along the driveway side and on the upper
Okay.
side of the driveway side. So we're still in the process of getting the final grades set. That entrance was basically to get the well in, the well drilled and be able to get it tested and apply for the building permit. So now that the house is staked out, we'll be able to make the driveway where it's supposed to be. And then the blankets will be installed after that, hopefully before snow flies, but if not, it'll be, immediately in the spring.
That's the only question that I had about this property. Do we have any other questions from members of the commission? Does not, oh, Mike.
Yes, Madam Chair. Did I understand that silt is is leaving this property every time there's rainfall?
So there definitely was some sediment leaving the property. It was in the road when I drove by. It appears that Hurlin went out and they're reinforcing their erosion control measures and they will be more adamant about reinforcing when there's rain expected. But yeah, there was definitely some sediment going into the road. It was, yeah, but it was not going into the lake. There is a curb across the street, so it was not making it into the lake.
Okay. But is it going in the storm drains?
Most likely, yes.
Okay.
I got there after, like the day after the rain. So it had dried up, so you could just see the kind of like a little stream of sediment and then the remainder on the road. I didn't get to see it actively moving toward the storm drains, but just the dry strip of it going down the street.
Do we, with these blankets, I know the construction isn't finished yet, but are we to believe that we're going to continue to get infiltration of sediment during the rest of the construction before these blankets are in place? Is that my understanding? Or am I getting this different?
If I may?
Yes.
So since that has happened, I've actually dug out the base of the street where we have the stone recharge area. So there was silt built up. We dug that out. We added new stone. In the last rainstorm that we had, it worked as it should. And I also added additional straw wattle across the driveway, midway down the driveway. And then, you know, every night, or not every night, every time before it rains, I added the hay bales along the street to help prevent that.
Okay. So it sounds like you have a plan to keep this under control?
Right. The night that the sediment that came out, it was overnight, so it was the morning when it, when it ran into the street along the curb. So at that point, I recharged the dugout, recharged the lowest point of the driveway. The driveway is all leaning towards the banking, so it all runs down the inside where there's stone, and then the base is all stone as well.
So is this just a temporary fix? Or
No, on the proposed plan by Dillis and Roy, that will be a permanent one. So
Okay.
at the point where we're closer to completion, that stone will be dug out or added to make up for any, water coming down the hill. There is a plan in place for it that Dillis and Roy has, which he may be able to put on now to see.
Yeah, I can pull that up. So we did add, and I think this might have even been a comment from Mass DEP, but on the uphill side, we had a stone recharge trench that would intercept a lot of any runoff coming off the hill prior to entering the roadway. So this follows the entire length of the driveway along the slope. So it sounds like during construction, Dave and it sounds like you talked about this with Herlin, but just making sure that those areas are prepped for rain events and precautionary measures are taken with additional sediment and erosion controls if necessary during construction.
Thank you, Ryan, and thank you, Madam Chair.
Fine.
And thank you, David.
All right, do we have any other questions from members of the commission? Let me pin Mary so I don't miss her. Okay. It does not appear that we do. I actually have never, so this is on violations, and if we wanted to remove it from violations, do we vote on that? I've never had this happen before. I don't think, I guess maybe once, but I don't remember what we did. There's only one parcel that I can remember coming off of violations. Does it just come off of the agenda for next week, or do we have to vote on this? Does anyone have
Madam
a?
Chair, I don't think we need to vote on it. I mean, there's no enforcement action decision
Okay.
that we would need to vote on. And I think, I mean, as I understand the history, it's there because of a report, right? And we asked the
Yeah.
applicant to come in and provide status. And we have all of that. It doesn't seem to be an active violation. It seems like the applicant has taken all the necessary steps to reasonably ensure that it doesn't happen again. So I think we can, you can decide not to keep it on violations or keep it on violations. I don't think that it requires a vote.
Okay,
Just
alright.
my opinion.
Thanks, Mary. That sounds good to me. Yeah, so I will just ask the office to remove this from violations moving forward, and I appreciate you being here, Ryan, and also Mr. Bajari being here to so quickly on this and taking action.
Absolutely. Yep. Thank you.
All right, thanks so much. Have a great night.
I think that's it for me. So I hope you all have a good
All
night.
right. All right. Good night, Ryan.
Thank you. Good night.
Okay, I see that we have Jeff Viviano on the meeting. Are you here for just to visit, or is there something that you're waiting for?
No, I was just visiting. I was just curious with the construction down the street. That's only a few houses down from me. And I mean, he's been doing a great job, and I just wanted to make sure that, things went smoothly for him. So, I mean, like I said, he's a builder. He's been in town for many years, and he does really good work. So I just didn't want, things. I would have given my opinion, but I didn't really need to. So
Yeah, was that for
that was about
215
it.
Sunset?
Yes, yeah,
Okay.
for Pajari lot. Yep. So
All right.
Yeah.
Nice to have you on a meeting again.
Good to hear
For a bit.
everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for Andrea and Teddy, this is Jeff, and he was on the commission until you guys joined. So
Good to see you, hear you, Jeff.
Hello.
Exactly.
All right. Good to hear everybody else. Yeah, it's been a while.
it has. It's going by fast too. Can you believe it's already November? You've been gone
Uh,
for what, 4
I
whole
know.
months?
And Mary's
Yeah.
still on. Good.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm working on it. Don't remind her. We're very sad that she left.
Yeah. I saw she wasn't on the meeting earlier. I was like, oh, maybe she left, but I thought it was another year.
Oh, yeah, work intervened. The day job
Yeah.
intervened.
Hey, Jeff, I was on JetBlue today, so just want to let
Oh,
you.
were you? I hope
Yeah,
it was a
from-
good experience.
A very good experience from Cleveland to Boston.
Excellent.
All right. Wow. Moving on to new business. For topics unknown, 48 hours advance of meeting. We had a application for a extension on a Mass Trails grant that Mary had submitted. And just to keep it on the up and up, I thought that we should have Mary maybe go over it and then we could vote just to approve the extension. Does that sound right, Mary?
Yeah, that's right. Thanks, Madam Chair. So, as everybody knows, we have a active grant that was granted in 2023 from Massachusetts Recreational Trails, and the grant deadline is the 31st of December this year. And our consultant engineer ran into some challenges in the last third phase of the project that he was working for us, which is to do the plan improvements and also get the permissions, right, the applications in place and approvals for improving that access road down into Cowdrey, and that is the access road that comes off of Townsend Harbor Road into a really lovely wildlife viewing platform that's built for wheelchair access. Anyway, the FEMA floodplains, the floodplain maps were issued again this year, and that was an unexpected change. There'd been a lot of beaver activity down there that has kind of put the road in jeopardy. And so the consultant engineer said that he really needed some extra time to figure out some additional options for us down there. We may not be able to accomplish what we had, or at least the strategy that we originally had for trying to gain, better public access down in that area. I applied for an extension through the end of July next year. I think it's through the end of July. I was just actually trying to call up the form to see what I had confirmed the date. Hang on just a second, and I will get that date up. I just want to make certain for the record that I have the accurate date on. Yeah, okay, 7/1. So I asked for an extension to 7/1 of 2026, which is consistent with what the consultant engineer had also recommended for an extension. I submitted that, it got approved, but now the town manager needs to sign the revised contract, and so I thought it would make sense, just in case the town manager wants to, be assured that this is with the, following the will of the Conservation Commission, that maybe we should vote to accept that extension grant. Does anybody have questions about it? I kind of went through it in a blur.
I don't have any questions, but I would like to say thank you for staying on top of that and getting that approved, because that's amazing.
My pleasure.
Any questions for anybody? Oh, Mary?
Well, I was just gonna say, if there are no questions, I don't see anybody like coming off of mute suddenly or raising hands or anything. I'd like to make a motion that we accept the or approve the grant extension and therefore authorize the chair to ask for a new signature on the contract.
Second.
All right, that is Mary with the motion and Chris with the second. Roll call vote. Chris St. Germain,
Aye.
Andrea Burnett,
Aye.
Teddy Doucette,
Aye.
Mike LaRouche,
Aye.
Mary Wilson,
Aye.
and I for myself. I will just update the town manager that we voted to move forward with this.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you so much for taking care of that, Mary.
Madam Chair, may I bring up a topic?
Absolutely.
We were getting reports of a lot of trees down. Small Town Forest is an enormous tree. I guess it has three branches to it across the trail. Also in the Lane property, there's been reports of a lot of trees. There's also, we're having a heck of a wind event tonight, so I'm expecting even more. So I would like, I usually go out and get these with my mountain bike. I put a pack on, but with being so many, I'd like to be able to use a tracked ATV because it's a lot of ground to cover. I don't know what the process is, but I was wanting to get permission from the commission to use a tracked ATV to go out and get these down trees. And that would be between the Flat Hill Orchard and Lake Shirley. It would be the Lane property and the Small Town Forest and the Cowdrey lot.
Mary, you have your hand up.
Yeah, just for historical purposes, it's common for the Conservation Commission to grant permission for motorized vehicles for the purposes of maintenance,
Okay.
which is, the nature of Chris's request here.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense to me. Mike, you have your hand up.
Yes, Madam Chair. I'm all for Chris doing that. I would just like to know, does he have any identification that he could put on his ATV so people don't say, hey, we can use our ATV now on the trails, whereas you can say, no, this is for official business.
I think I do, but I think it says, I'll put something on that as part of the commission.
Great.
I'll get a placard on there. Yeah,
Sounds great. Thank you, Chris.
sure.
Awesome. Thanks, Mike. Do we have any other questions? All right, doesn't seem like it. So would we vote on this?
Yes, I
Is
would
that-
make a motion that we allow the tracked ATV for the purposes of maintenance.
Second.
Okay, roll call vote. Chris St. Germain,
Aye.
Andrea Burnett,
Aye.
Teddy Doucette,
Aye.
Mike LaRouche,
Aye.
Mary Wilson,
Aye.
and I for myself. All right, thank you so much for offering to do that, Chris.
Sure, my pleasure.
Yeah, so does somebody go out and help you, or do you just go out and do that by yourself? And
It depends. If it's small stuff, I go by myself. I think this time I'll have somebody with me. There'll be probably the Lunenburg Snow Riders are very generous about helping out, so I'll probably reach out to either a member of them or a neighbor. But for the bigger stuff, I like to have help.
okay,
And
yeah, I was gonna
Chris?
say,
And Chris, will you bring a cell phone?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, good.
okay, all right, well, thank you so much, Chris. That's
Sure.
awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the only other, I don't have anything else. Topics unknown, anyone else have anything they wanna? We never have any, and now we had two. Okay, forest cutting plan. I was trying to do all my prep work, and we have a forest cutting plan for Flat Hill Road. And I did not look at
Is
that.
that different than the last one we talked about?
I
Yeah,
think
so
it is. Huh?
it's the same, it's the same.
Is it the same?
Yeah,
I
I was
thought that
wondering
was
why
a
it was on
different.
there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Man. All right. What would I do without you guys? Okay. Moving on from that one then. The next thing is I had Michael put this on the bylaw discussion. Jen Warren, who's the town manager, reached out and said that there is a bylaw committee forming. And they would like it if the Conservation Commission, or of all of the boards and commissions in town, had the members look at their bylaws and submit any suggestions or comments or anything that they had to, or that they wanted to see to this commission. So this is me bringing it up. Hopefully, if everybody can maybe take a look at our bylaws, or if you have anything, I was really hoping for Rich to be here and see what he had to say about that. Teddy, you have your hand
Yes.
up.
Yeah, at our Conservation Commission conference the other week, Mike and I were at this open space residential design seminar where one sec, can I have permission to share my screen?
Sure. I'm taking notes.
Where they talked about when they have like residential development, they allocate a certain amount of land to be conserved and protected as open space. And they generally keep the same number of units, but they put them on smaller lots and put them in more compact areas. And so like the top picture and the bottom picture theoretically have the same number of units, but smaller lot sizes on the bottom. And then the open space is for like public use and like just protection of natural resources. So this is something that I would like to incorporate in our bylaws. They're telling us that in Acton, they have open space residential design as the like the standard, and then anything outside of that needs special permitting.
Okay.
So that was just the one thing that I wanted to bring to the
I wonder,
bylaws.
I work in Acton and I drive by 2 new projects that are going up on Route 27 every week. So now I'm gonna look at them a little bit harder and see what's going on in them. Mary, you have your hand up.
Yeah, I don't know if that's a conservation commission
Or open space.
jurisdictional something. Yeah, I think it might be. Like once the area is defined as having a conservation restriction on it, then I think it's our jurisdiction, but requiring that it become a conserved area and that that's allowed in the planning, I think is not a conservation jurisdictional concern. It would be a good thing, maybe Jenny, to ask the
Yeah,
town manager. I think she would be all over that.
yeah, see, have her, maybe see how other towns are doing that or what boards they're using to do.
That's a good point. And I
Yeah.
was gonna bring this up at my next master
Master plan?
plan.
Yeah,
Yeah, master plan meeting. Because I think this kind of goes hand in hand with our master plan and like building like new sorts of housing areas as well as
yeah.
protecting like farmland and nature.
Um, yeah, and I think that some towns do things differently. Like some towns don't have an open space committee and conservation oversees open space. We have open space, but our open space as of right now, Chris could speak to this better than I can. Open space is more of a what's the-
Advisor,
what?
advisory role.
Yeah,
Yes.
they're planning, we're in talks of changing that. We're going to the planning board, I think, I'm not sure the planning board, I'm sorry, the select board next week are our chair, I think he's going next week to talk about changing it to be not advisory. So that would be a change, significant
Okay.
change.
Yeah, cool. Okay. I know another thing that I've heard some, and I think Andrea, I heard this from you, is the Community Preservation Act.
Right. Yeah, I attended that session and found it very interesting. I may attempt to share my screen. I've never done this before. So I don't know if you could lead me through that.
Yeah, so at the bottom of your screen, you should have a little green arrow pointing up, that says share. And you might have to like kind of drag your mouse down toward the bottom and hover for it to come up, because sometimes it hides itself. Are you on? Yep, you got it. There you go. Were you already like queued up for this?
Well, yeah, I did pull up the image. I just found this one image pretty interesting because I don't know if you can how well you can see it. But the green is towns that have adopted the CPA, the Community is it Preservation or
Yeah.
Protection Act. And we're that pink that I tried to make a pink dot. That's Lunenburg. So we're kind of on the western edge of quite a big block of green, excuse me. And I just thought, why don't we be part of that? I don't know. I'm not sure if, how much discussion there has been in the town about the Community Preservation Act, and they were obviously very positive about it because they were trying to promote it. But just the benefits that towns have found, and the additional funds that they've been able to use because they've been part of the program. So I think I'm going to try to look into that more.
Yeah, that'd be great. Do you want to give a little overview of what the Community Preservation Act is? Anybody familiar with this on the commission? They talk about it a lot in at the conferences. I always want to call them conventions. Teddy, you had your hand up?
Yeah, just looking at it now, it says the Community Preservation Act is a smart growth tool that helps communities preserve open space and historic sites, create affordable housing, and develop outdoor recreational facilities, which also sounds to go hand in hand with our master plan.
Yeah.
Thank,
So, and again, sorry.
Thank you, Teddy. I was trying to pull it up, but yeah, that sums it up.
Yeah, and the I'm not fully read in on it, but my understanding is that communities that are in the Community Preservation Act there's funding set aside for stuff like that through the state.
Right. Yes. Yeah, it's not a lot of funding, but it's something.
Well, that might it might not be hard to persuade the town to lean into this, because we're one of the towns that are obligated for housing because we're near a commuter rail.
Right.
So if we have to do community housing, it'd be nice to get a bump from the CPA if we have to do housing anyways. I mean, like you said, every little bit helps. So that might be a way to get people behind it.
Yeah. And I feel like this probably again, especially with open space becoming going more under becoming advisory, this may follow more under the open space designation than conservation. But it is something, I mean, they talk about it. I think I've heard it mentioned in almost every class that I've taken through oh my God, what is it called? What's the MAC? That's what they are.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, no, definitely it comes up in 101. I've taken 101. I think I've taken 101 twice now, maybe 3 times. And And it comes up when I take those little classes that are about different things, like Westboro. I took DPW Westboro. I went to a talk by them at the last conference, and he talked about it. And then they talked about it actually in my last class, which I forget what that was for, but it comes up a lot. As far as, you know, our bylaws, I know Andrea and Teddy, you guys are new. I don't know that you've fully memorized our bylaws. I know I haven't. So I don't think anybody has. But I would love for, you know, if people have time to, you know, if there's anything that you would think that you'd like to see change in specifically the conservation bylaws. You know, if we go through them, I think that one thing was maybe our fee structure.
Yeah,
Something
I
that,
definitely think that, so the fees for the application fees are actually in the regulation, the wetland regulation, municipal regulation, but the bylaws, have a consulting fee structure that just kind of, you know, first blush to me seems a little bit outdated with current, you know, rates. Because I think up to a project up to $100,000, the max that we can charge, and this would be like if we had to hire an administrator, and you know, because we couldn't get you know, interim administrator. But for a project up to $100,000, you can only charge the applicant $500, and you know, that's 2 hours of wetland consulting time.
very low.
That's not much, and you can move a lot of earth with $100,000 project.
Yeah.
So I think
So
that bears looking at.
definitely. Anything else at the top of your head that you'd like to see looked at?
I think let's get clarity, because I think the way you know, and this is a little bit kind of outside my wheelhouse, but I think I would like to be clear on whether the bylaw you know, work group is just going to be, I think they're just going to be looking on the municipal wetland bylaw and not the wetland regulation, even though the wetland regulation also shows up in the E code. But it'd be nice to have
Yeah.
clarity on that as well.
All right. I
So
will,
the wetland regulation, I think, is actually called the wetland regulation, and the bylaw, I think, is called the bylaw.
okay, let me, I will get clarification from Jen on that. And also, let me just, so the notice that I received is, all boards, committees, and commissions from the bylaw review committee, bylaw review info needed. Select board has appointed a bylaw review committee to review and revise the town of Lunenburg's bylaws, and both agree with the charter. To both agree with the charter and to reflect current practice in each of your department's committees. It does not say anything about regulations. Bylaw committee is now meeting and beginning the task of review and revision. In order for us to do this task efficiently, we need your input. Over the next few months, the committee is asking that each of you review the section of bylaws that pertain to your responsibilities. If you think something needs tweaking, should be eliminated, or even added, let us know. It'd be helpful if you could submit your comments to us by December 1st, 2025.
Okay, so we have one more meeting.
So we have one more meeting, and it says it would be helpful if you could submit your comments. So I was thinking if we technically have one more meeting, but the next meeting after that is December 3rd. So if I were to submit anything on December 4th, it may not be the end of the world. Or even, you know, and I could, you know, if we're coming up with some things, I could definitely let Jen know that we have some things that we're discussing. And
Well, and it's not, as I understand the way you've put it, Madam Chair, is that we can highlight things that maybe are a concern. They're not necessarily actionable. Is that right? I mean,
That's,
so
yeah,
maybe any one commissioner could bring up something that's a concern, but before it would be changed, the commission would have like some input and the ability to arbitrate one way or the other.
yeah,
Okay. Maybe just confirm that too.
yeah, I'm gonna check with her.
Okay.
I'll come back with questions. That's why I wanted to make sure that we talked about it because, and see what questions we have and not just what we're thinking about doing, but definitely get any input from the commission with questions, concerns regarding
For
this.
for your reference, and for the record, the consulting fee is section 239-4 and set forth in section E5. It'll be in the recording, so it'll
I
take
wrote
you
it
right
down too.
there.
Okay. Thank you. Do we have any other questions about this? Okay,
Just for everybody's edification, Madam Chair, too, the consulting fee is different than peer review fee.
yes. Because the peer review fee is paid by the applicant. And the
Paid
consulting
direct,
fee,
yeah,
yeah. I mean,
directly
I
by
guess
the
that this is
applicant.
also what this would be paid by us. This is us consulting, having somebody come in, work with our office. And we're paying them. But
Yes, yeah, so they're
charging,
reimbursing us, right?
Right.
That's the way I think it works, is they're reimbursing us, whereas for the consulting, for the peer review, there's actually an escrow account and the money goes in the escrow account and then we only hold it.
Thank you, Mary. Okay. So any other questions, concerns about that? Nope, okay. The other thing I added, put it under new business, I don't know really nowhere else to put it, is, four of us went to the MAC training. We actually had a quorum, so we had to be very careful. We didn't have a quorum in any of the meetings. And I just wanted to see if anyone had anything that they wanted to share that they learned at the trainings that they thought was interesting, that they thought were interesting. Like we just talked about the open space residential design. A lot of stuff comes up about the Community Preservation Act. Is there anything else interesting that anyone wanted to educate the commission on or share with the commission for our education? Teddy.
I went to environmentally responsible landscaping, which is right in my wheelhouse. I was very excited to go to that one. And this was like a fun fact that they had that lawns make up 40 million acres of just monoculture turf grass. I believe this was in the US, which provides no ecosystem value. And one of my when I get up on my soapbox, I try to discourage people from having a monoculture green grass lawn and planting more native species because there's just many benefits to our environment as well as like stormwater management. Having like deeper roots alone allows for like more like water infiltration during storms. And I could go on and on about environmentally responsible landscaping, but I just kind of wanted to say the thing about lawns.
Yeah. I think we're all, yeah, I know I agree with you there, and we do require native plantings when people come before us and they're doing either a wetland replication or they're revegetating.
Yeah, I was very
it's
happy
super-
with everything that Ryan had brought up, like all the
Yeah.
native plantings that he brought up during his presentations.
Yeah, they always have the native plants on their plans.
Hmm.
Mary,
We, as a commission, I think usually ask for all native plants, but is that legally required? Well, I don't know. Is that required in our
I know
wetland
that
regulation?
there is, I don't think it's required in our regulation because I actually looked for it. I do know, on that little pamphlet that we have, the things that don't require a permit, it's like if you're planting something native in the buffer zone, that's okay. But I don't know that it's required, but I know that we have in my experience being on the commission and very happy about it, I've never seen us not require
Well,
a
but that
native
means it's
plant.
discretionary and not required.
Yeah,
If it's not part of the law, that means it's the will of the current sitting commission.
that's true. Chris, you have your hand up.
Yeah, pet peeve of mine is the perfect manicured lawns right on the edge of a lake. I mean,
Oh my gosh. Yes. Are you talking about Whalum?
I'm talking about any lake.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
when I used to, I'll get off this soapbox as well, but I used to canoe the Saco River, and right along the river are farmlands, and all their potassium nitrate fertilizer just turn that parts of that Saco River to weeds, and I can't. I'd have to believe that some of the weed issues in Shirley, for example, I've swum in there. It's got to be some of it is, I would imagine, is due to fertilizer runoff. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. And I always, you see those perfectly manicured lawns and they're just like a slope. It's not even like they're flat. A lot of times they're just like a slope straight into the lake.
yep,
So whenever it rains, just no vegetation on the ends and, yeah.
yep.
So I am with you, Teddy. It sounds like Chris is too. I know Mike is.
Now, it's just a recommendation that properties along wetlands not to use phosphates, fertilizers. There's no regulation, it's just a recommendation. Is that?
That is, yeah, I mean, that's my understanding. I think it's in our pamphlet, kind of recommending not to do it. Um, and it's just kind of recommended across the board now by pretty much everybody not to do that, but there's nothing actually preventing people from doing it. I know. The thing is, I think a lot of people who are doing that to their lawns are not doing it thinking that these chemicals are going to end up in their lakes. They care about the lake. They live on the lake. I just don't think that they know any better. And some of that I think is really more of an education thing than somebody trying to make weeds in the lake. But I'd love to do some educational campaigns, especially for Mary.
Yeah, educational campaigns, which is not related to MACC, so I apologize, but we had a goal that we were never quite able to execute on, when we had our previous administrator, to actually get that brochure printed out and stuffed into all of the tax flyers once a year, or the tax bills once a year, to remind everybody that we have these regulations and to remind people that they have to get permits for stuff.
Yeah.
Right? Because we still run into a lot of people who just go, oh, I don't know. Right? And we ran into somebody this weekend on a site walk who had cut down some trees that, she said had been damaged in a storm, right? But she still was obligated to get, at least an administrative determination to cut them down. And she said, oh, I didn't know. It would
Yeah.
be nice if, once the office gets, kind of more fully operational, if we could get that queued back up. I think it's an important thing.
Yeah, definitely. It's actually always on my mind, and you say it doesn't relate to Mac, but that was actually in one of my classes. That's one of the things they brought up, is that you're always your strongest action is going to be education. Because, you know, the vast majority of people are not trying to do something that's bad for the environment. They just don't know better. And you can counteract that with education rather than having, and you can be proactive rather than reactive. So I would love to get that going. I actually remember that was kind of fizzling out as I first came on. Mike,
Yes, Madam Chair, I was just wondering, has anyone gotten a copy of the slides of any of the presentations you may have attended at the MAC conference?
Hetty,
Now I
Yeah.
have not, so I wasn't sure if I had given the wrong email address or.
I did get them. I got an email with a link which actually took me to everything, not just the sessions.
Oh,
I believe they're listed anyway. I haven't tried links other than the classes that I took. But I did get an email. It was
is this on Outlook?
yes. It
Okay.
was from is it Paige Butler, I think?
Paige,
Oh.
Bueller.
And
Was it Bueller? Yeah, Bueller.
Okay. And I think it was on the 31st. It was not too long ago.
Oh,
right.
yeah, here it is.
I will-
I got one with the slides for I
Okay.
took the like getting out of a meeting quickly, not getting out of a meeting quickly, but you know,
Well, I will
Right.
check that again. Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Andrea.
yeah, it is in my email. So,
Okay.
so Teddy he had quickly put a no on, and now I went and looked at my email, and then I came back and it's changed to yes.
Yeah,
So
I
he
I'm
has it too.
I just noticed that it's there.
Okay.
Yeah,
But I had the
yeah, I'll
same thought,
ignore it.
Mike. I was like excited to see them and but yeah, they're there now
Yeah,
since Halloween.
and you know, we can add some of add the ones that we took to the drive, or any of them really, for anyone to look at in the
Yeah, I thought that was exciting.
educational folder. Yeah,
And I just wanted to add also, Madam Chair, that I really appreciate having the opportunity to go to that. I thought it was very valuable.
awesome. I'm so happy that we had so many people. It was really exciting.
I think those
Um,
classes are absolutely fabulous. I mean,
Yeah.
I've taken some of them. I've taken one of them. I've taken, well, a couple of them I've taken 3 times, and I learned something every time.
And then with the fundamentals classes, if you retake them, they're only $15, and you don't pay for them. The office pays for
I
them.
think all of the ones that are virtual, they're only $15 if you retake them.
Yes. And that's well, I think, yeah. I mean, I think all the ones that are virtual are they not all considered fundamentals? Is that like the 2 levels are not?
Oh, I don't know. You might be right.
I think they're all fundamentals, but you don't get the certificate unless you take 101 through 105, and then 3 of the 2 levels. Then you get the fundamentals certificate. So which is put that on your bucket list. Anybody, if you want to get a fundamental certificate.
I have a
Um,
certificate.
So do I. 2 out of, I think Mike's gonna end up getting one maybe. Oh, that reminds me, actually, while we're talking about Mac, there's a class coming up that I thought, I signed up for it. I'm not sure if anyone else did. There is, oh, it's Monday, November 17th, Fundamentals Unit 103, and it's plan review and site visit procedures. So I took it right when I first joined, and I'm taking it again. It's virtual, but I think that might be beneficial for anybody who's interested. If you are interested, I can let the office know. And
When
that's
is it, Madam Chair?
Monday, November 17th. And it's all about looking at plans and how to be good at site visits.
Okay.
I like the sound of that.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, if you're interested, just let me know, and I'll let the office know that you're interested and get us signed up. Although if we have more than 4, if we have more than 3, is that a quorum?
You don't get to talk or deliberate in the meetings.
That's true. Okay.
Yeah, so
Okay,
I think that's a key something. So it's not really like you're
just
meet,
observant.
I'll have 4 people meeting for coffee. That might be a problem, right? But yeah, you're just on mute and not, you're just able to intake the information.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense to me. So yeah, I think that's a good one. There's also on Wednesday, November 19th, which is the night of our meeting, but I would say that, sometimes it's better. I think the educated commissioner is a good commissioner. So if somebody was interested in taking it, it's it's fundamentals unit 208, so it's a 2-level. It's buffer zones considering the science while applying the regulations. And that is on a meeting night.
I thought
Um,
that was a great class too.
yeah. And then now they're showing Thursday, January 29th, 2026, which feels like a really long time from now, but it's gonna be here quickly. Effective erosion and sediment control, which I'm gonna take because I'm curious. I hear that there's new things happening in the exciting world of erosion control. So I'm gonna take that one. Okay, do we have any other MAC takeaways?
Well, I'm curious if there were any epiphanies at the efficient meetings class.
Honestly, there wasn't. I found that somebody must have taken this class because we were doing all the things that they recommended. So we actually did a mock. I don't know. I know you've taken this one, Mary, and I wonder if maybe you implemented some of this stuff. We did a mock meeting, and some of the problems we haven't had in my experience, which is, well, we've had it once, well, once per one person, but where people just talk and talk and talk and talk, and then you have to cut them off. That doesn't really happen in meetings in my experience. That was the big thing that they talked about, how to just kind of take control of that situation and try to be effective. I haven't had to have that experience much. So hopefully I'll be better at that as that goes on. But a lot of it was so we did a little mock meeting where we did it in a like as a bad meeting. So like the engineer didn't know anything, and the people in town just kept interrupting, and it was just, we don't really have a lot of the issues that they came up with. But big thing was having a good agenda. For the most part, we have a good agenda. The Yeah, it was a lot of the problems that other people were having, I couldn't relate to. I was really surprised because I went in there and I was like, oh, wow, we're pretty organized compared to other towns. So yeah, that was my big takeaway, was actually that our meetings feel pretty on point compared to some of the issues that I was hearing from other towns, which is where people in town I guess a lot of other towns have people that come to the Conservation Commission meetings constantly, and just kind of like we have at the select board here. And just want to talk at the beginning of every conservation, or they'll interrupt hearings, and we don't really have that here. So a lot of it was geared toward dealing with that kind of stuff.
I was gonna
And
say
you
this
took
meeting
it,
went by pretty quick, like relatively quickly.
yeah. One thing that helped with this meeting is the engineer that we had in a lot of our hearings is typically, the plans are really good. They're color coded. Good engineer, the engineers are prepared.
Mhm.
That's really helpful. I think that a lot of times, oh, that was the other thing, but we've been working on this. Thank you, Mary. And thank you, Teddy, for bringing my brain back into focus. The big thing for an effective meeting is to have so much of the stuff taken care of before you even get to the meeting. So having somebody look at the plan, make sure that the erosion controls are there, the stockpiles are there, that it's filed correctly. You know how we had a couple that came in as RDA, as administrative determinations that really should have been RDAs or NOIs. So now our office, we have a pretty limited staffing in our office right now, but they're watching and making sure that when things are coming in, that they're coming in as the appropriate application type, so that they're not coming in and we're saying, oh, hey, why are you here for this? You should actually be here for this. And then, it wastes their time, it wastes our time. So a lot of that's to say, like, a lot of the stuff that they talked about is stuff that we're actually working on though, and that we're implementing. And I think we're doing a pretty good job considering the fact that we have like 20 hours in the office total.
I think they're
right
doing a
now.
great job
Yeah.
considering it's total of 20 hours. It's better than, previous. So I'm
it's-
really pleased with that. Once we get a full-time person again, I think it'll be really good. Particularly, if we can, grow with that administrator and kind of coach them, and they're able to onboard,
Yeah.
recommendations, because the bylaw does give us the discretion to reject any application that's incomplete.
Right. And that's another important thing that they had talked about, but we already have that. And if an application is not complete, it shouldn't be getting on a meeting, because it's really wasting their time. And if they're paying for an engineer, they're paying for that engineer's time. And that it's wasting their money. It's wasting our time. It's wasting the people who are on the meeting waiting for a meeting's time, or hearing. I mean, so there's so many benefits to getting a lot of this stuff handled before it even gets to us. And I'm trying to pay more attention to the things that are in there so that I can kind of try to see if there's anything that I'm picking up on that might need to be looked at before it gets to us. And I think that, I think we're getting better at that every meeting. So yeah, that was a big takeaway. And that is something that we're working on. But I think we seemed like we're in a pretty good place compared to some of the stuff that I was hearing from other towns, which was not what I was expecting when I went into it, because I was really expecting to like come away with all this stuff. And I was like, oh, we're doing a lot of this already. Cool. Oh. So that was my takeaway. And my other takeaways were the Westboro DPW. I took a class that was by the director, the assistant director of the Westboro DPW, and it didn't fully feel like conservation, but it did. But they have like a plan. Every time they know there's going to be a rain event, they go out. He gets their parks commission, their sewer commission, all of the different stakeholders in all of the different places to go out and make sure all their culverts are clear before a storm, after a storm. Like, he knows where and it was just very, but it was really well managed over there, and
They
it's
must
just
have a lot of retired volunteers that can just take off and go do that.
I think they just have a lot of staff. He's
Oh, I
like,
thought you said commissioners.
no, did I say commissioners? No, just their parks committee, not their committee, I guess, their parks employees. So the parks department, the sewer department, the all of those departments that kind of fall under maybe like land use of some sort. They involve all of them whenever they know that there's going to be some sort of like rain event. They go out, make sure culverts are clear, like they have them all mapped out. One person will have so many for 3 months, then they'll switch over to the next ones. They'll do like a download with the person who had it for the 3 months before, so that everybody kind of gets familiar with all the places in town that can be problem areas. And I'm sure, like, I haven't talked to Bill yet. I'm sure he does a lot of this stuff too, but I thought that was really interesting. I used to live in Westboro like a long time ago, and I didn't realize they had so many culverts and so many things. But yeah, I thought that was interesting. Anyone else? All right, I think I'm gonna move on to old business. Conservation budget. I did ask for the budget, for some of the funds that we have, our budget is combined with the land use budget now, so a lot of the line items in the budgets are things that we're sharing with land use, which is building, planning, conservation. I think that's it. But I heard back about the timber rights fund, which is, it was 85.75 when they got back to me. But then we voted to put $2,000 toward the Mackey PO. So now we have 65.75 in the timber rights fund. And then they didn't give me Haas, which is the Hollis property. So I'm not sure. I had to ask about that one, so I'll know that one maybe at the next meeting. Do we have any questions or comments about that? Are there any that I'm missing? Because I asked for what our, what's happening in our accounts, and all I got back was timber rates, but I know that we also have Haas, so I feel like that was left off. Am I missing any other ones, or is that
Should
just,
have 3.
what's the third one?
And I don't know what it's called, but we have a, we're the beneficiary of, and it was Conservation Commission specifically, not the town, beneficiary of an estate sale 2 years ago, somewhere in the neighborhood of $800,000, $835,000, something like
Oh.
that.
Have
We
we
don't
used
wanna,
any
we
of
don't
that?
wanna, no.
Okay,
We discussed as a commission, non-binding, but we discussed it as a commission at the time that we should set that aside for acquisition of, future conservation lands.
yep. Makes sense. All
But
right.
we want
I
to make
will-
certain that doesn't get lost somewhere.
Oh, yeah, 100%. I'm gonna,
I can probably look up what the name of the estate was. It's like right at the tip of my edge of my memory, and I just can't grab hold of it.
I feel like that must have been, I don't recall this. I feel it must have happened before I joined. I'm
Yeah.
assuming that we've spoken about it in a meeting that I've been in, but I just wasn't fully in tune, I'm guessing.
Madam Chair, what was the number on the timber rights fund?
65.75. We had just voted to put 2,000 toward the Mackey PO.
I remember the Haas fund being at around $40,000.
Yeah, the last time we had an update on it, it was at 36,900.
Okay,
I went and looked back at the history. But I don't know what it is now. I would assume, as far as I know I think after that, we voted to get the lawnmower,
okay.
maybe, and then get the string trimmer.
Well, and I think the recent repairs too that we
Yeah.
had to do.
We did some painting this year.
Yeah. So I'm gonna guess it's a little bit lower than 36,900.
Yeah, I think we had to replace an oil tank. We had to get an electrician out there that I don't remember if we had to pay for or not.
We just
Yeah.
repaired
I think
the
there
oil
was,
tank. or did we replace
It was
it?
a replacement, and that
Okay.
could have been close to $5,000.
and
Okay.
I thought there was a third something associated with that too, but I can't really remember.
I think there was some nominal electrical emergency items, like just attach a cover that was in the basement.
Yeah. But I thought that inspection yielded 3 actionable items.
I remember the electrical panel needed a cover.
Mhm.
The light needed to be fixed, which we never ended up fixing because we had never got in for that. The oil tank needed to be replaced.
Right.
I think were those the 3 things?
Maybe.
Yes. I think so.
And so the only thing that's outstanding is the light that was dangling, which we never were able to get in for, but we will be able to.
Right.
And, and yeah. So I think, we just have a couple of lawn things that we had purchased and some home repairs that could be a significant chunk out of it. I will have that number for the next meeting and I will get that third account's balance and make sure that it is accurately notated as Conservation Commission funds.
Madam Chair, the estate fund that I was talking about was the estate of Sean H. Kelly. And that's Kelly, I think spelled Kelley.
Okay, and is it SHAUN or SHAWN or SEAN?
SHAWN.
Okay. Okay, I have never heard that name before, so I feel like maybe this has never come up while I've been on the commission, because that is just absolutely foreign to me. But who knows? I will definitely get an update on that though. We don't have any encroachment issues that I'm aware of. At least not any that we have put on paper for a meeting. Open space and land use, no updates as far as the commission business goes, but we will get a report during the committee reports if there are any.
Madam Chair, may I ask a question?
Oh, yeah.
What is that intended to entail? Because we have open space committee report down below.
I
I
don't
mean,
know.
what in a conservation commission kind of perspective, like I didn't know what those topics were.
I don't either. Sometimes I feel like maybe something's always been there, so I just don't question it. I don't even know if it's always been there though.
Maybe it's like a artifact from when we switched over to the new format.
Maybe.
But if we don't know what's supposed to go there, then maybe it should go away.
Yeah, I just put a big cross through it and Mike will hear it when he watches the meeting, but I'll also send him a message. Hollis Road residents, we'll have more updates on that soon as far as the residents goes. As far as that whole property goes, the North County Land Trust is going to walk the property with Mike and I on Friday for the conservation restriction check-in.
Do we have to prepare a report for Emily? I remember in the past, when it was brought up, I was told we weren't gonna do that, so I'm just wondering, I guess, are we still not doing a report?
I was not informed that there would be a report. I'm really hoping that there's not, because I go to work and then I come home and then I have dinner and then I go to bed.
Okay,
And I don't have time to create a report between now and Friday at 10 a.m.
all right,
If it was Monday, I could do something on the weekends, but I hope that she's not expecting a report, because I will get an F on that if she is.
okay,
Yeah, I can check in with her and see if there's anything. She didn't mention anything in her email.
okay.
And
Well,
you were
maybe
on that.
she's used to the fact that we don't provide reports, so she's probably not
The
expecting,
bar is low with us is
right,
okay. Okay. So yeah, I'm gonna move on to committee reports. The master plan steering committee. Teddy, do you have any updates there?
Yeah, so on the 30th and the 31st, they went on I'm just finding these emails now, honestly. They went on some building tours. Last time we had a meeting, they were talking about the project priorities that they had. The top three, I believe, are the TC Passios roof, the Ritter building, and the town hall.
Yeah.
Um,
Those seem to be recurring themes.
yeah, and um, yeah, I don't have many updates. I wasn't able to go on the tours, unfortunately. I wish I I had, but I had my wedding on the 31st, so I was kind of busy. And
Congratulations.
Yes,
Thank you.
congratulations, Danny.
Oh, yeah,
Thank-
yes.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
That's a big deal, baby.
Yeah, it was pretty fun. I had a good time. And yeah, I'm just looking forward to going to the next meeting. I'm gonna bring up the open space residential design, as well as I've been taking a lot of notes on the environmentally responsible landscaping sort of stuff that I want to bring up, because that's kind of a cheap thing that I think we can start doing. You know, the old verbiage, the best time to plant a tree was 10 years ago, and the second best time is today. So I think it would be cool to get some more ecologically responsible landscaping in our like public spaces. That's something I would like to incorporate into our master plan, as we want to like make our town more supportive of like community gathering spaces and protecting farmland and whatnot.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't really have a whole lot just yet, but I will next meeting.
Well, I mean, a whole lot other than you're married.
Yeah.
Just a big deal. That's a big update.
Yeah.
So, okay. Yeah, awesome. All right, open space. Chris, do you have any updates from open space other than the big one you just let us know about?
No, that's it. We have another meeting coming up next week. Not sure if I'm gonna be able to make that one, but if I do, I'll give you an update if there is one.
Okay, great. Stormwater, we have not met since the last meeting because there will be a presentation by Bill Bernard from the DPW at the special town meeting, which is on November 18th at 7 p.m. if anybody is interested. That is an in-person meeting. I've never been to one, so this will be my first, but I will be there. There's an item. I haven't seen, I guess that the what's the word I'm looking for? Not the agenda, the town warrant, the special town warrant, is that what they call it? Was just released the other day that might show an agenda of how this works. This is very new for me. Special town meetings are not something that I have any experience with, so I'm excited to learn about it. But on the town warrant, there is going to be some stuff about how our office is going to function. Changing the staff in our office are what we're calling our administrator right now. I think would become more of an agent role and would move from the clerical union to the salary administrative plan, which would make it a little bit more of an attractive position. So that's something that's going to be coming up in the special town meeting. And so I will be there to watch for that, and also every other stuff, because that's important to participate in local politics. So yeah, but we're not meeting because that's happening, and then we'll meet. Our next meeting is in December. So bylaw review committee was just put there accidentally, and we already spoke about it in the new business. And I'm gonna say communications, public comment. Do we have any communications from any members of the commission? All right, and I don't think we have any public comment because there's no members of the public here, so. Upcoming meeting schedule, our next meeting is on November 19th at 7 p.m. on Zoom. Does anyone else have anything they'd like to add before I look for a motion to adjourn? Okay, then I would be looking for a motion to adjourn at 9:32 p.m. on November 5th, 2025. I almost said 2023.
So
So
moved.
moved. Second.
All right, that is Mike with the motion and Mary with the second. Roll call vote. Chris St. Germain,
Aye.
Andrea Burnett,
Aye.
Teddy Doucette,
Aye.
Mike LaRouche,
Aye.
Mary Wilson,
Aye.
and I for myself. All right. And Mary, your background was the snow, and I was not ready for that yet. I just wanted to wait till after the meeting to say that. But it was like, oh, we're not, no snow. It is gonna snow, I heard. Next week, though, maybe a little bit.
Cool.
Yeah. So maybe not enough for snowmobiling, though. Sorry to disappoint.
All right.
all
Mount
right.
Washington's getting 16 inches tonight or tomorrow night, just so you know.
Oh, I saw that somebody was skiing at Jay Peak the other day. I think they
Yeah,
were backcountry
last weekend.
skiing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's happening.
Hmm.
Yeah. That's I'm not ready yet. The leaves just fell. I love the winter, don't get me wrong, but I'm not ready for full winter yet. All right. Well, everybody have a good night.
Okay,
Thanks,
thank
Paul.
you.
Thanks.
Night.
Bye-bye.